We won a 5 at the end of the week. They're worth $630, so parents come
along. You should have stopped sweating on your back, look.
Looks fine, look.
Yarra, the Yarra Princess. My name's Jeff, and along with Rob, we'll be your crew for our trip down to the Port of Melbourne. Now, just before we get too far underway, I do have the safety briefing that we need to do at the start of each cruise. In the unlikely event that we would require life jackets, and these are actually something that we haven't used now for a couple of days, and quite nice and dry. They can be found on these cupboards either side of myself, funnily enough, marked life jackets. And if we do require them, Rob or myself will get them out and help you on with them. Just like to make you aware that there are full instructions printed on each and every life jacket, just in case Rob or myself have grabbed ours and gone. Still give you that half a chance to be able to follow us. If we need to evacuate the vessel, it will be either through the front door where you came on board or out across the rear deck. Also on the rear deck we do have some life rings that we would use if someone accidentally fell into the river, so if you do see someone go over the side, once you stop laughing, if you could please hand them a life ring. Also importantly, if you come forward, just to let myself know so as I can then mark it down in the ship's log, and at some stage I'll make a decision as to whether we turn back or not to pick them up. Now just a word of warning guys, we do have 3 very low bridges coming up. Now we are on a fairly low tide, so it won't be too much of a problem, but if you are going out onto the stern deck, you will need to duck your head down as we come under these bridges. So we'll sound a warning on the horn as we approach, and Rob will also give an eye on the back deck just to make sure that everyone out there keeps their head down nice and low. These bridges have actually been classified by the National Trust, and as such we've been ordered not to damage them with your head, and it's something that we do try and comply with as much as possible. We do have a team potty station at the back of the main cabin. Now that is complimentary and serve yourself. There is a toilet also located at the very rear, and as you may have guessed, that's also serve yourself. And once we have got under the 3rd low bridge, I will be giving some commentary about the history of the river and about things that we have seen. So in the meantime, just sit back and relax, and I shall talk with you again very soon. That's where we hold all our car shows and boat shows and all manner of trade shows. And next to the Melbourne Exhibition Centre is the Melbourne Maritime Museum. Now there we are looking at the 3-masted iron bark, the Polly Woodside. Polly Woodside came out of the same shipyard in Belfast, Ireland as did the Titanic, albeit about 25 years prior to the Titanic and just a little bit more successful. Polly Woodside has circumnavigated the world 4 times, rounded the treacherous Cape Horn 16 times, and she finished off her working life here in the Port of Melbourne as a coal barge. She was dismasted and then pushed around from steamship to steamship so as they could replenish their coal supplies, and then as diesel took over from steam as the preferred method of propulsion. Polly Woodside was retired and then in 1968 sold off to a local historical society for the princely sum of 1 cent. And there they fully restored her. And she now sits in Sydney off many remote in a short while, but already booked out for the next 5 years. And that's attached to the Hilton Hotel. The Hilton Hotel here has been classified as a 6-star hotel, which means you can have your choice for more than 2,500 different bottles of wine. You can have a butler come up and wait upon you. You can even have a chef come up in the morning. His breakfast right there in Yarra, and as such doesn't have a great deal of history itself, but there is a fair bit of history about the man that it is named after. Now Charlie Grimes was the acting Surveyor General for New South Wales in the late 1700s and early 1800s. And in 1803, Charles Grimes was sent south from Sydney town to investigate the possibility of a settlement around the Port Phillip region, which is this area here. And Charlie's report was actually rather scathing. He thought the whole northern end of Port Phillip was rather arid and desolate and really not worthy of settlement at that time. But he did make note that he had found a source of fresh water, which of course was the Yarra River. And as such, Charles Grimes is accredited as being the first European to lay eyes upon the Yarra. Now, it wasn't until about 30 years later, in 1835, that a pastoralist from Tasmania, his name being John Batman, was on the lookout for some fresh grazing land. So he sailed across Bass Strait in the Rebecca, sailed up Port Phillip, rediscovered the Yarra. Now, he had a bit of a look around and he liked what he saw, so John Batman uttered the famous words, "This is the place for a village." And indeed, at that time, a village was established. Now, it had a couple of different names in the early days. It was known as Bear Brass to some, or John Batman's personal favourite being Batmania. Now, John Batman also named the section of the river here as Batman's River, and he and his family settled on Batman's Hill, which is now where Spencer Street is. And probably given enough time, every landmark in this area would have had Batman's name attached to it in some form, and they made such huge amounts of it. So William Lonsdale was sent south from Sydney to sort the situation out. Now, by the time Lonsdale got down here, the village of Beargrass, or Batmania, was absolutely thriving. So Lonsdale took over as administrator of the village and then renamed it Melbourne, which was in honour of Lord Melbourne, who was the current English Prime Minister. So you pray that it was this way down past what is now the Westgate Bridge, and in its day it was the longest continuous walk to be found anywhere in the world. Up to the South Port, still used by the Port of Melbourne, just a little bit further downstream, but as you can see, pick up this end of town, that's subject to the new development that is occurring to the swimming pool after. So obviously just a local sense of humour. The two towers that we see either side of the multi-bridge here are the gateway towers, and they actually do not form any part of the structural integrity of the bridge itself. They might need to pull up part of the control on their radio just to let them know that we are paying them a visit. So I'll put my microphone down for a couple of minutes whilst I make that call. They rename our harbour as a much more fitting name for the new residential development that has occurred up that way. These sites sailing takes in the early days up to 7 days just to come up from the river's entrance at Williamstown around the old Fisherman's Bend to be able to use the wharves and docks of Melbourne. Now, in contrast, modern shipping today will make that same journey in about 30 minutes. So it's considerably longer. It goes back to the river's entrance and also across to Station Pier at the top end of Port Phillip, Port Melbourne, which is where the Spirit of Tasmania ferry comes in from across Bass Strait. And also when cruise ships are in town, they also utilise Station Pier. And just coming up around the corner of Appleton Dock here on the right hand side, that is Swanson Dock. Swanson Dock is down there in the distance, that is the Westgate Bridge. And almost 3 kilometres long, it's one of the longer road bridges to be found in Australia, and in fact it's the same for everyone. Also up on the 88-4 there is a public observation area called the Sky Deck, and there you'll also find the Edge Experience, the last view. Side into the rain on the stern deck, please make sure that you keep your heads down. We may end up being just a little bit shorter than what you were when you first came on board. The red building we see up here on the left hand side, that is the new Flinders Street Police Headquarters. car on the inlet going to prime of the line. It's any there. Now prior to the Queen Street being built, there used to be a waterfall across the river. And this was as far upstream as ships could go because of that waterfall, and the waterfall was